All right.
It's not, I mean, it's 5:28, got 2 minutes.
Okay.
What's wrong with the Bank of Ann Arbor? Fred, explain it. Yes.
It's hard when you're not here every day and you don't hear the going back and forth and.
Grab this we need time.
I was trying to call you to tell you I stopped at Bill's.
I'm sorry,
I stopped at Seacrest and he's supposed to be, but we have one.
is Rhonda coming? Is Rhonda coming?
So
Are we on video?
All of our board meetings, including special, are video.
On,
Yes.
but the reason I asked is because of the flat thing that's laying up there. I've never seen it before.
It's been there.
Maybe it was there and I just didn't see it.
You have a new phone number?
Huh?
You have a new phone number? That's why I'm not getting responses back from you?
I don't, I have it, but it's turned off.
No, do you have a new phone number? You have this, okay.
Oh.
how are you?
I can't see, my eyes are dilated. Went to the eye doctor, my eyes are dilated. Hmm, no, because I went to my ophthalmologist.
Today?
Yeah, just at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and they're still dilated. Hmm, you did, yeah.
Sugar.
I'm glad you came, thank you.
Sugar, so we need to check it and do all these tests.
Yeah,
Gotta have it done.
well, I feel better.
Huh?
I feel better, my eyes are better. I was on a certain medication that was messing with my eyesight, so my eye pressure had gone like through the roof. Yeah, and I was on Dupixent because I had a smoke on my skin.
Hello, Mr. Seacrest.
Pick me up again.
Figured you might not have gotten that other.
No, I
Great.
And it just doesn't take long. It doesn't take long just to walk or go down the street.
Thank you very much for thinking of
Oh,
it.
that's all right. That's all right.
Gotta watch that stuff. Gotta watch it. Yeah. This time, Ken.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Lynette, would you read the roll, please?
Caviston,
Yes,
Finley, here. Lewis, absent, but she says she'll be here at 6 o'clock. Linky,
Here.
McGill.
Good timing.
Seacrest,
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
With quad.
All right, because generally, the supervisor calls a meeting for a special meeting. I-
He said clerk. He said clerk clearly, Fred, but keep going.
Generally, the supervisor calls a special meeting. I don't know who called the meeting tonight. I asked, but could the three identify them?
Ken, you did.
Yeah, no, Ken, I wrote you an email last week when we had more extensive complaints about.
Are we out of order right now anyway? We can ask that after.
Okay.
What are you trying to do?
I just want to find out if this meeting was properly called. That's all.
It was properly called.
It was,
Well, so was.
If you read your emails, you'll know it was properly called. Fred, I gave him the information. He said, if you did that, it's correct.
I'm
So
just asking who called for the meeting. That's all. So I'm
you
assuming that
agreed. Go back and read.
yes, you agreed in writing.
this date.
Yeah,
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You agreed in writing.
yes, you did. Because guess what? As the clerk, I got elections to run. I don't have time for any special meetings. whatsoever.
This one here, so.
Yeah,
all
we
right,
do.
So let's have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
All right, all in favor?
I'd like to make a change in the agenda. No, not the content, the order. I can do the order.
Yeah.
Thank
Not a
you.
problem with the order.
Thank you. I do know my job.
Okay, so.
I'd like to make a change in the agenda.
All right, go ahead.
I'd like to move A to C and do C first, B second, and A last.
All right, that's fine. Any objections to that? Seeing none. All in favor of approving the agenda as changed, say aye.
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 All right, so that takes us to citizen participation. Is there any citizen who wishes to participate? You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
We're doing,
We're doing
So you're
citizen
the-
participation now.
that's first. I think she's asking about the change in the agenda. Am I correct? Okay. Okay, we're doing, that will be the first on the agenda item. And then after that, we will do B, which is the Bank of Ann Arbor, and then C will be priority.
In the crowd.
No, I did that wrong. Terminate Moore's contract will be last. We're trying to wait to one of our trustees get here.
I didn't want to interrupt her. My name is Ramona Parker Hayden. I've been a resident of Superior Township for 35 years. And I just want to, just a couple things. I'm just asking that when you guys talk about about Moore's Concrete in regards to the termination of the contract, if you could talk about if there's any financial obligation on the part of the township for ending the contract, and if there's a plan to address the unsatisfactory work that has already been done in the residents, to some residents, in a way that don't result in additional costs for them. And also, if you could talk more about the phrase that's in the agenda, ask new contractors to apply. Is that a bid process? And if so, was it used in the initial retention of Moore's Concrete? If you can share more about that in your discussion. And then just for some housekeeping, for the notices and the minutes that go out, because they're going to be archived as official documentation, I would encourage the use of complete business names as well as individuals and their affiliations and their role with the township. For example, on the agenda, it reads Fred's update, and 5 years from now, nobody will know.
You're
who Fred
absolutely
is.
right. Thank you.
So we could just be a little more conscious about that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. Thank
You're
you.
absolutely right.
Debbie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Debbie Covington, and I live in Brookside, and I've been a resident of Superior Township since 2003. And I just would like to formally invite you all to a Conversations with the Candidates Community Forum, which will be, I'm hosting it myself, and it will be moderated by a non-Superior Township resident, and it will happen this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. And we have a significant number of the candidates who have agreed to show up. And thank you to those of you who are here who have agreed to attend. It will be at Christian Love Fellowships Church in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I have some cards on the table. Feel free to take one for yourself and one for your neighbor. We hope to have a really good turnout this Thursday. So thank you very much for your time.
What time is that, Debbie?
It's from 6 to 8 p.m. and there are cards on the table.
All right, thank you. Sir?
Hi, my name is Keith Reed. I live in Oak Brook.
Can you speak into the mic, Keith? It's not.
me?
Thank you. It was on already, I think. It was done.
Pardon me, sorry.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
My name is Keith Reed. I've been an Oak Brook resident for 39 years, buying my second house there. I have some questions concerning some sidewalk issues, also this on a different note. The sidewalks on Barrington and Wiltshire is been neglected for 2 years. I've spoke to Mr. Schwartz about it for the last 2 years, 4 different occasions. And I'll take care of it. I know about it. We'll see. I'll personally go look at it. No avail, never had a response. What's going to happen is I walk every morning, 6 a.m. with my dog. I see women or families, I should say, not just, but anyway, they're walking, trying to go around the entrance to that in the intersection. Not good. They could get hit by a car. They go in the gravel. They could push the child out into the road. It's a hazard waiting to happen. The other sidewalk is on Berkshire at the corner of Prospect of the entrance. That sidewalk is raised 4 inches minimum. If you trip on that, you will end up in the road. Done said all that. Oh, the entrance, the shrubbery at the Oak Brook sign. When they put the sign in, they cut the shrub back in the middle, left the debris and all the other living shrubs on the side. It actually looks like it has a haircut down the middle of it. Can we get that cleaned up? And it's embarrassing to the subdivision. And all of the shrubbery that's there, the bushes are this tall. Can we get those cleaned up? That's what I'm asking for. All right. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Oh, thank you. My name is,
Is the mic on?
I can't hear.
No, the mic's not on.
Bring it a little closer.
I can-
My name.
We're making sure the mic is correct because
Thank
we
you.
did miss some things in the recording because people do not speak into it clearly.
I'll do my best here. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sonia Kaufman. I've been a resident for 26 years in your wonderful Superior Township. Thank you. I live in Matai Farms, and we are having horrendous difficulty with the trash pickup. I haven't had my trash pickup for 3 weeks. I've got neighbors today that just had theirs picked up after 4 weeks. And it is becoming terribly concerning. I know we're bombarding the office here with so many calls. We're reaching out to the company, the trash pickup company, but we're just not getting communication effectively. It's really a problem. And I think if it continues like this, it's going to possibly end in health issues with rats and that type of thing. So I would love to see if we could do something to rectify this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First, for Mr. Petrie. Is that your last name, Petrie? Oh, okay. So the corner that he is talking about is Barrington in Wilshire, which I have brought up several times. And what happened is limestone was laid there. All that requires is a company that is certified and licensed to put in a appropriate ADA ramp, and that will be fixed. It should not sit there for years. And that's about how long that has been in that condition. So the second thing is for priority, what I would like to see, because I'm not comfortable with it, I'm getting calls. We need the township needs a system to really be able to contact someone directly, because I was getting a lot of texts on Saturday, and there are some residents that have my phone number simply because they continuously have problems. So to solve it, a long time ago, I gave them my cell phone number. So I came in here Saturday because I texted you, Sam, and I was waiting on some kind of response. And at that time, I only knew about Rolling Acres. I didn't realize Berry, Cherry Hill, Warren, Mathai Farms. I didn't realize how those other areas weren't taken care of, but residents are sitting there with trash. They're having events. There's no communication. There is no communication of, for instance, status. Somebody finds out on Friday, well, we're going to be there on Saturday and we're going to take care of these areas. And we have to find a better way, even the township, of putting that out there. Whether it's the website, whatever we do, we just need multiple methods of communication. It can't be on Monday when they start calling. For Morris, let me just, on that one, okay, so we're here because somebody made a complaint. in most of the issues and plus more I've given. I have in my purse probably a stack of emails that I've sent. And so what I did this weekend, because I saw we were having this meeting, I do know that one house that's really close to me where the sprinkler system was elevated, he went and buried it. But there is a resident at 1527 Harvest Lane where he put in two flags, and I remember him saying he will fix it, but this resident has been asking for a year. He put in two flags on the sidewalk, but damaged the driveway. People should be made whole. If you're getting your sidewalk done, you don't expect big chips. And then you don't expect somebody to put a fourth of a cup of cement on top of it because that will come up and it looks bad. 1758 Sheffield Drive, two elderly couple that he did the stamp on two of them. They do not want the stamp grinded down. They want it replaced because they never asked for the stamp. In addition, the sidewalk right next to it was damaged. And so they took concrete, as again, the machine chopped it, did something, it's about that long, and they put concrete over it. They do not want that. Somebody has to replace it. They want those two flags replaced because they never gave permission for the stamp. And then there's a resident on Arlington, 9035, where Morris Concrete promised to fix something. If he said he was going to fix it free as long as the owner bought his men lunch. Well, what he fixed is deteriorating. Morris and I met at that resident's house about a month ago, and he still hasn't been back to fix it. So
Irma,
these
next
small things,
minutes.
okay, thank you. These small things, and this is the last thing, just let me say it. I have 3 appointed positions in this township, and with each one of them, I took an oath. And what I really recall with my oath is the residents and the township. It's not a contractor, ever. It is always, always has to be the residents and the township. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dolores Argo. I'm at 9059 Arlington Drive. I've been a Superior Township resident for about 28 years. I'm LMSW. I've worked for about 30 years in human services and loved what I did. And I was complimented on my work, but I didn't come here to talk with you guys about this evening. I came here to talk with you about last year. I believe it was approximately June that I received letters from the township informing me that the sidewalks would need to be replaced. I'll share something else. I am the lady that had the misfortune of falling on the sidewalk. I had been doing that walk for about 18 years and know how bad exactly. I walked a mile around. I go down the bike path, come around, and it comes up to over a mile. And I know where all of the bad places are. And after I had fallen, I even shared that, that not just where I lived at was bad, but the entire circle there was bad and that over that mile. And I was doing 2 miles a day. But this Saturday morning, I had the misfortune of my dog and I very close to my home. Next thing I know, I was on the sidewalk with injuries. So when I received the notices from the township regarding the fact that they would be replacing the township, I said, well, replacing the sidewalk. I said, that's good. That's a good thing. Even though I had some injuries, I was fortunate. They weren't as severe, I suppose, as they could have been. So the only good thing about it was bad thing about it was that I knew that it was going to have to come out of my pocket. So I wasn't too happy about that part of it. But then following that, I received notices from the township about the fact that it would be fixed, that they were recommending that Mr. Morris is one of the people, but included in that letter also was the fact that we were not obligated to use Mr. Morris. Well, I talked with my neighbors on either side of me, and neither one of us had any idea of whom we could use. So I says, okay. Approximately, I think that was May, end of May or early June. But however, I had noticed the work that Mr. Morris had done in other areas for some friends of mine. And so I was, okay, I'll go with Mr. Morris because no one had an idea of whom we could use to get this work did. So,
Your 3 minutes.
okay,
You gotta
okay, then.
go.
Dolores, can you just wrap it up real fast?
Okay, then. What occurred was that when Mr. Morris got to me in July, I believe it was, I have to throw this in too. I was very courteous with Mr. Morris. He asked me, could he put up a sign? I says, of course, put the sign up. He posted his sign on my tree, and that stayed up for that period of time. But after he completed the work for me, I was not satisfied with it. And I informed Mr. Morris that I was not satisfied with it. I asked him if he could just redo that part of it, and he informed me that he didn't know what's wrong with it. And he was very, very, very insulting, very disrespectful. At that time, he wasn't the same person. However, after he finished my neighbor next door to me, I had the message saying, okay, this man is not paying me any attention. He's not going to do anything. So I went to 14B and I filed against Mr. Morris. That was early November. I didn't hear anything after January. I went back up there to find out what had occurred. They told me, well, you need to go to Ann Arbor over there to the courts over there. So I went to Ann Arbor to the court over there to let them know. And they in turn told me that they would work it out. They would check on it. They just said they would work it out. They would see what they could do. So I have a letter that I brought with me. And this time I decided, as opposed to trying to reach Mr. Morris by letter, I would pay a court officer to go out and serve him. What occurred at that time was that it came back, no address. I received the address from that I have from the clerk downtown there from housing, and that's what he has is listed. After that
I'm sorry. If it's possible, we have a whole lot of agenda. And
Okay.
I understand the issue.
I followed what
would
I want to
just-
make sure that everyone is aware of. I followed the criteria of what I should do. As a matter of fact, and that was after he wasn't interested in what I had to say, was not listening to me, I went and filed at 14A. 14A told me to go to Ann Arbor and file, and this time I paid for the officer to go out and serve him.
Mhm.
It's written on the paperwork that the gentleman came to the door, said that Mr. Morris did not live at that address.
Dolores, we'll have a
Let
second.
me say this, whatever you have, just
Yeah, if you
give me
have
a
anything
copy
you
as the
wanna
clerk,
Submit to the board, feel free to submit it to the board.
to the clerks.
Could I ask one thing though? And I appreciate you and I thank you.
Mhm.
Could I ask for an address for Mr. Morris?
There he is.
Mr. Morris is here and I'm sure.
We can get that later.
Thank you, Dolores.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's the main thing that I need is the address and to say that the work is still unsatisfactory, very, very, very unsatisfactory. And I had seen
Dolores,
yes.
Your time's up.
you know.
Your time's up.
Here, you can
He's
talk to
here.
him.
That can be
You can talk
addressed.
to
Yeah.
Dolores.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have
Anybody
anyone else?
See, sir?
We have one right here.
Yes.
Glenn Thomas. I live on Barrington, and I just wanted to give the board an update. You know, I was here last week over the priority waste stuff. I did get my new trash can. They are picking up the old one here in a couple days. The biggest problem that I've been having lately is with their customer service. I called Thursday, called Friday, called yesterday, and I got with Rhonda and got a different number. Finally got through to him. Got my bill paid. Finally. But the GFL sent Priority a double bill. They said I owed 107 instead of the 53 that I got from Priority. So Sam said he's going to look into it and take care of it. That's fine. But their callback finally happened. They finally called me from Thursdays. Leave the number. That's not good. You know, when we're looking at 72 up business hours, that's not right. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Glenn.
Mr. Thomas. Landisers.
All right, so from Steph, earlier this week, I sent the board a photo of what my sidewalk looked like just prior to being disfigured by Morris Concrete. Slabs from 1978, all perfectly intact, and not even enough out of level to warrant replacement per Superior Township's ordinance. Had OHM bothered to measure anything? After 47 years, the repair done by Morris involves completely removing the intact flags, damaging one of my unmarked flags in the process, and replacing them with subpar junk that is now deteriorating after 10 months. I had been left with sidewalks in the worse condition than before. Sidewalks that less than a year later have chunks chipping off of them and are more of a liability than they ever were previously. And I've paid $600 for that privilege. I would like to be reimbursed in full so a more competent contractor can do the work needed to correct this mess. I was one of the first homes to have my sidewalks done. I expected it's just a matter of time before other slabs begin failing too. I'm also wondering why Morris made no attempt to match the original fabrication methods for the sidewalks in the neighborhood. Older neighborhoods like Getty's Ridge have exposed aggregate sidewalks. Matching this is something I think most of our neighborhoods would appreciate. Given the quality of their work, I expect the Morris crew did not have the necessary skill or pride in their work to bother with this type of match. They offered the cheapest method possible that guaranteed them job security, and we were told the white flags were a result of curing compound that would wash away, leaving the new flags to blend with the rest. They would never blend because the fabrication process is entirely different. When vetting new contractors, I would encourage the board to accept a contractor willing to do exposed aggregate and also willing to do mud jacking or grinding as an alternative to full flag replacements. They should also seek a guarantee for the longevity of the work completed. On behalf of the neighbor in Getty's Ridge who could not attend today, one of our neighbors was harassed, bullied, intimidated, verbally assaulted, conned, and lied to by Morris. She wound up having to call the police on the owner and his daughter. Being unable to attend today, she instead emailed the board regarding her experience with Morris Concrete. Two board members replied, but neither addressed Morris conning her out of money that Morris said was to be paid to the township for her sidewalk repairs and driveway apron that she was coerced into having done under the guise of being required by the township. What is the board's proposed resolution?
Thank you. Yeah, I want to just, I'm going to close citizen participation now. There is a prior scheduled meeting, board of determination for the drain district, Fleming Creek Drain District. They're going to be here in an hour and they need to be able to set up.
No, they're set up already. I let them in to set up, but
Okay.
I just want to make
So we just want
everyone
to think
know.
along. So
that
we're going to move into our new
7.
business now, and that'll be a priority waste update. Sam, would you like to give us an update on things?
Yes, I would. Good evening, board. Sam Caramagno, Priority Waste. I've talked to Sonia and Glenn about each of their issues, Methane Farms and Glenn's billing issue. I'll make sure both those things get taken care of. Matter of fact, trucks are collecting MFA farms today for any missed areas and all the areas that Irma sent to me. I think it was either yesterday or earlier today. So those areas are being recovered. We are still having some problems, obviously, as you can see, much less than they were a couple of weeks ago. Our call center is still being rather overwhelmed with the calls from the 73 communities that Priority Waste purchased from GFL. So they're still working through that problem. I know there's a website. I think Lynette has probably posted that website. People can put their tickets through without having to call.
I'll comment on that when you're done, because no.
Okay, so there is alternate ways to get a hold of Priority Waste to get your issues taken care of. I'll make sure I have a supervisor out here tomorrow combing through the area to make sure all the Wednesday collection is picked up properly.
So may I comment? You know, Sam, I always tell you, you're doing the best you can do, okay, under the circumstances, but that doesn't still mean that our residents should not have what they should have on time. I talked to you and I talked to the woman that you suggested that I would talk to. I'm just gonna make a suggestion. I have a problem putting up information that's gonna bring in more cost to this office because we've been inundated with calls like crazy. Allison, poor Allison, I told her, don't take any calls, give them all to me. And she's given me all the calls, and Irma has taken the calls. Okay, I even take the calls on vacation. They have my cell phone number when I'm away. So my point I'm trying to make with all of that, I think I would love to have you guys give me something very simple instead of waiting till October. When you want to give information, the accounts won't be available for you guys until October. You will not be able to access your online account until October. That's my major problem. And that's why I cannot put anything up, because I can't put anything up that's going to generate more calls. I think that if you all think of another way for all your areas, just to send a letter and let people know and include that in there, that your account will not be available till October, then I would be more than willing to put whatever you want. But to put something up that's going to generate more cost to this office would be a problem for me. And customer service, I think that'll help you all out with all your municipalities. Just include in a letter that should go to the residents right now. It is not our job to send that letter to residents. It's Priority Waste. So if you send that letter very, very soon, like yesterday, and put in there that you will not be able to access your online account until October, I'd be more than willing to put anything up.
I will talk to them about the ability to do that.
I shared that with the lady and she told me that she would let you guys know that.
I'm not sure what the deal was that you guys did with Canton, but I think the communication has been much stronger.
They were there before.
With Canton in terms of how they've been able to, they had like Q&A, FAQs and all that good stuff. So I really think that we are also deserving of something that we can, if we're going to post it, but like Lynette said, not to generate more work, because only 2 people in this office are taking calls and I'm getting hit up on next door. So I would, I spent my whole vacation last weekend answering people on next door about trash services. So that for me is something there has to be a communication that comes from Priority Waste to the residents, and it needs to be sooner rather than later, because when my neighbor is supposedly should be getting billed $53 and just paid $107 or whatever he paid, people need to know that that's coming.
Yes.
Because not everybody's gonna be prepared for a $107 bill. So I think that we need to get ahead of this. If you guys are not gonna bill until October, you gotta get that communication out so the people are
Sooner,
prepared.
and include that in there. And Canton, they were a part of the account before all of this happened, just like where I live. We have no problems. I keep saying that.
Right.
but they were already an account holder.
Okay, thank you. I'll take those notes back. Just to speak on Canton, Canton is a township billed community, one bill to Canton Township. They do not have individual billing. And they switched over from priority waste or from GFL to priority waste. Well, it'll be effective. Their new contract will be effective this coming Monday. So they've got a brand new program rolling out there,
Yeah.
including trash carts and everything. But I
Right.
understand what you're asking.
That's what we'll be doing next time. But
So I would like to say, there's no reason why we couldn't do it this time if the board wanted to do that.
we can't,
that-
we
why is that?
had the discussion with Fred and it's based on the way that the current
Right.
contract is.
So you
set.
can't,
We
you
can't do
can't,
it until.
Unless they're
Yeah.
willing
if
to
they're, if
make
they're
some.
willing to open.
We have
But
to-
why would they not be willing to open that clause?
He can take that back too, right?
I mean, why? would they-
Regarding one township bill,
Yeah. I mean, that.
we would be happy to do that.
That's what I thought.
That's something I think the
I think
board
we
should
need to-
discuss.
Oh, we would
discuss
have to
it.
pay that out of taxes.
I get that.
Absolutely.
Well,
But that,
we'd have
but
to do
that
an
was-
analysis
but
on
that's
that.
something that we should probably consider.
We could consider that.
The other thing is, I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody, if you've looked at the ordinance lately, our ordinance is about 16 years out of date.
Mhm.
And right now for people who unfortunately for you, if you have your trash outside for 3 weeks, actually you're not, the ordinance says that the resident's not in compliance because they have trash outside. So
Mhm.
you're really in like a catch-22.
Mhm.
Right. And what I would like to say is there should be one person in this office that's
Mhm.
assigned this job. We're hearing Irma's taking calls in the morning. Is Irma assigned to do this job? Is she the
Yeah, she's
person?
taking calls from.
And then what I've asked Irma to do is to send me so that we're not, excuse me, to send me the information of the people that she's working with so that we're not working with the same individuals. So after she leaves.
But I think it's also important that the board is aware of the complaints, that if
Mm.
Irma's in charge of it, we need to still be aware of the complaints.
Absolutely.
And we need to know if they're rectified. And we need to know that you have someone's number at priority that you can call and they're going to respond to you. And is that being done right now?
Yeah, Sam.
Irma, I'll share that with you.
Yeah.
You sent me some emails. I responded back to you, but I'll share you a direct number for what is the LDC that's in direct contact with the drivers. I'll share that with you and I'd still like to be copied on that as well. So I'll share that information with you.
I'll say is that I think that everyone who calls who it hasn't been serviced, we get that to Sam or somebody within an hour at least.
Irma and I have been doing immediate feedback because
Oh, yeah.
we believe in customer service.
Of course.
Okay.
So we've been doing that. I even went out on Saturday and Sunday and texted Sam ones that weren't done and he got them done on Monday. So
It'd be
there's a
great if
lot
you
of-
were in this office to
there's a
help with the
lot of
calls.
odd streets in Superior, like easements that are unnamed off Warren Road and some other roads. And, I volunteered to go out with your LCD to kind of show you, like Mathi Farms has a lot of little snaky, almost alleys that have, very nice homes on them. And if driver's not familiar with the area, he can easily skip some areas.
And signs to make it more clear, you can make it real clear that there are houses down there that's taking place.
Right.
I'm gonna send somebody through there tomorrow. Maybe me if I can free myself up, but I'm gonna send someone manager through the farms
Thank you.
tomorrow to look at all the streets, make sure they completely understand all the ins and outs of it.
We need to continue on with
All
it.
right. All right.
Thank you,
Sam.
Sam.
Is there any other questions for Sam?
I would just ask that we have at least a weekly update until we can get things ironed out with you guys. Not that we want to have a meeting, but at least some type of a written update to give us some idea that things are caught up from your office would be great.
And it's an official,
Sam does stay in touch with me and I can put something.
Sam, send me the information
Yeah,
because
we'll-
I've been the
we'll get
person
you the
taking
information and
calls
also,
everything.
I don't know if
And
you're-
you've sent him information that he has not shared prior to, which is a part of the problems that we're having.
I don't know if you've got information on the portal yet, if anybody's been in touch with you on the priority waste portal, will show any missed pickups and the resolution of those missed pickups. I don't know if anybody's got that here yet. Let me chase that down. Make sure you get that as well, because that'll give you the information
Oh,
that you're asking
Thank
for.
you.
But Sam, I mean, you're taking on 700,000 new customers this month. When do you think you're going to have your care center, your call center set up to be able to handle that increased volume?
They're staffing that and training that every day. It's, I can tell you, it's not a concern that I'm only hearing from Superior Township. It's coming from other locations as well. But that call center, the pit, as they call it, they are every day staffing and training, sending managers through there to educate them as well. So I'll relay the message on to them again first thing tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you, Sam. That'll take us to the Bank of Ann Arbor. I'm not sure why this is on. Is that yours, Lynette?
Yeah, I don't have it on. I told you I'm doing
I was
elections.
gonna ask for that and wanted Fred to provide us with kind of an update because Ken, you decided you didn't want to address it because you said you weren't the responsible party for it. And I wanted to just make sure that I understood what this here, that letter, what does it mean for the township? If you could just kind of give us a little bit of an update on that.
I'm gonna tell you, first of all, just so you understand.
Speaking to the mic, Fred, please.
I'm sorry. Just so you know, I just received these when Lynette sent them to me. I had not seen these before, nor was I aware as to what they were for. They were not provided to me ahead of time. This is evidently something through either the building department, where the bond would have been, or this letters of credit would have been required. So I really can't comment on it other than to tell you that this is not anything that I was working on.
And I received them by accident, by default.
Yeah, I'm not saying anybody received.
Well, I called the bank today and the lady.
You guys speaking to your mic, Ken.
The lady who, the woman who
Pull
executed.
the mic up, please.
Michelle, she's on vacation to next week, but I went and I looked at Lisa's files, and what this is, it's a replacement bond. It's been yearly sent to us in July for August 1st to July 31st of the following year. So it's just a refreshed letter of credit, and we've got them every year at this time.
Yeah.
But this is for Infinity,
Oh.
correct?
Pardon me?
Yeah,
For
for
Infinity.
this.
Yeah, and we've gotten them from Infinity, from the Bank of Ann Arbor, and we get them like.
So what
about this
does,
time.
what does it mean when it comes to us and it says that we can, where is it? We can actually,
Levy on it if we choose, right?
so with that.
What
with-
that means
what-
is that in the event they fit for the purposes, I don't know what the purposes for which this bond was issued. So each bond is issued for a particular
Mhm.
project, okay?
We've done for infrastructure.
He's talking, Ken.
So we don't know, I don't know what project this was issued for, this $65,000 bond. But in the event that they failed to perform under the terms of this bond for the project for which it was issued, that means we could make a claim against that for that purpose. These bonds are not it's not a generalized bond for every project that Infinity has. They are project by project bonds that are issued.
So there's nothing that we can do with this. It does not relate to the $100,000.
It has nothing to do with that.
I do believe that this is probably related to the final course of the asphalt on the new roads, but I'm not positive about that, but I believe that's probably what it is.
I think we need to be positive about it.
I was
rather
about to,
than-
who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And I talked to
Right.
The
the
building
today.
department would have that information. The building department should have that information because the building department would be the one that would have, through OHM, which would have established the amount of the bond, would have been done through that process.
So if that's the case, why are we just not finding that out today?
It's in the development agreement.
No, you keep
Yes.
talking about development agreements. I'm referring to the building department, what you're saying.
That this
And
is
you
on-
said you called someone who's on vacation.
So let me
You-
kind of.
This has been here since last week when I got the letter and sent it out. So the building department reports to you. You don't have any information because Bill was in the last week and also today and yesterday.
Routine letter of credit they send every year for their, say, 1 year letter of credit. I think if you read it, it'll say from August 1st to July 31st. If we have claims that are directly related to the work that this is backing, then we can make a claim against that letter of credit.
But on July 18th, you said you did not know why we received the letter and
I-
that it wasn't requested and that we needed to talk to Fred to have him check it out. So that's why I asked Fred to check it out. And that the letter was addressed to Superior Township and not you. So now you have the facts and the details. This is where the communication is so critical and so important so that we're aware that when these things come through, we know what we should or shouldn't be doing with them. It just puts us in, it's an awkward thing to just get an email.
Well, if I may just add one thing, Rhonda. I guess the question really comes down to the level of detail that the board wants to inquire from the building department. Again, I'm not making any statement as to what level of detail you want.
Yeah.
But I think it needs to be clarified to the building department as to, for example, do you want information on each building permit that's issued? Do you want information on the certificates of occupancy that are issued?
No, not at all.
I understand. I'm not saying I'm not saying that you want them.
Right.
What I'm saying is that this would be something that would be in the normal course of business relative to this particular bond as to whatever that agreement was. I just think that it needs to be a clearer line of communication to the building department relative to what level of information you are seeking from them so that they can provide you a report in that respect. I'm not indicating what you should get. I'm just telling you that I think the problem is that for years, this was probably done and nobody even asked about whether or not this was going to, what the purpose of this is. My guess is that because we are in litigation with Infinity, this probably, piqued a lot of ears
Absolutely.
as to what was occurring. But this bond here has nothing to do with the bond, the issue that we're dealing with relative to the $100,000, the lawsuit that we've got filed.
And I appreciate that. And if somebody could have said that on July 18th, we wouldn't even be having this discussion.
If I had known anything about it, I would have
I
told you.
know you would.
Well, I don't have access to these and I asked Lisa, let me take a look. I tried to figure it out and I did figure it out and I talked to Fred about it today. This was always handled as a routine administrative matter in the past. If you guys want a report, then ask the building department and the planner to give you a report. Laura used to handle these in conjunction with Rick. And Rick would make a determination how much to reduce the letter of credit or the bond by. And then that was just done administratively. But if you want to change the process, that's fine.
I'm not asking to change the process. We wanted clarification on what this here was. What did it pertain to? So like I said, if we would have had the answer on July 18th, instead of saying check with Fred, we wouldn't have checked with Fred. And
Well, check with Fred to see if it related at all to the litigation.
And I
But-
think,
Because I'm looking at the same claim number, which is interesting from last year that brought this to our attention by default, by accident. In the board pack is the same number. So we probably need to just keep going.
All right. Thank you,
Same
Fred.
number.
Thank you, Fred.
That takes us to Mr. Morris. Who's gonna take the lead on this?
well, I can if you want. Today I reviewed the sidewalk ordinance and also the ordinance reference the sidewalk inspection policy. And the first thing I wondered about this, given all the complaints that we've been hearing, is the supervisor is supposed to appoint a director to be the point person for sidewalks. So right now, we're out of compliance with this ordinance because,
That's ridiculous.
well, we are, Ken, and okay, I know you say that, but there's a lot of stuff in here. It also refers to the Department of Public Works in our ordinance.
That was a ordinance that was drafted years ago. That's probably not even consistent with our operations.
But it's an ordinance. It's a law for the township that's still in effect, okay? So who is the director of
Does it
sidewalks?
say that I shall?
Who is the director of sidewalks? I'm asking that.
We don't have one at this point.
So
Does it say shall?
let's see if,
Look what it says.
so it does say shall. You shall cause all townships, the director shall cause all township
Direct-
sidewalks. And you're supposed to
say that supervisor must appoint a director?
I read,
If you go through almost all of our old ordinances, they don't fit. We probably need, and we've talked about this in the past, a recomp.
I believe it.
Well,
does
we're
say
already
that.
doing that. if you
I believe
recall.
it does say
That
that.
has
Fred,
been-
you were, you answered that question about the supervisor appointing a director.
Fred, don't talk till you get to the mic. Thank you.
I think what I answered for you relative to that was the question of whether or not someone could be appointed to take over the
Right.
function of that.
Right.
And what I indicated to you was that because the ordinance says that the supervisor is in charge of that, that by ordinance, the supervisor has control of that situation.
Right.
And unless we change the ordinance, we cannot, that function cannot be or should not be taken away from the supervisor.
So it says the individual appointed by the township supervisor, that's the director. The individual appointed by the township supervisor is in charge of administering and enforcing the provisions of the sidewalk ordinance.
Well, if you want to put out $60,000 so we can hire somebody
You know
to
what?
manage the
We
entire.
have someone,
Not that-
Ken.
That's not the,
You remember, we had a bid to take
have
care of
someone.
all the sidewalks in this township professionally by one payer and supervised by OHM, and the board turned it down.
why don't you
Resolved
just,
all the
how
issues.
about just, how about
decided
just
to
right
go-
now, Ken, the question is, why don't you appoint a director? Why
I don't
you-
have any money to appoint a director.
The board can make sure that you have money to
Well, that's
appoint
what I
a
just said.
director.
Lay out some money and we'll appoint somebody to do it. I think that would be good.
How about
to do that.
appointing Irma to be director?
No,
And why is that?
But she's been doing the sidewalks
it's
until you,
not appropriate to talk about that right now.
Okay, well, what she's doing, waste
she's
management would be
doing
great.
sidewalks too.
So I think based on everything that we know, one person should be in charge of the sidewalks. You have not been doing it.
I agree. I've been doing my.
Oh my gosh.
Ken,
You're not even here.
Please don't go there.
You're not, no, it's, we have got, no,
Come on.
No, we're not.
we
I'm
need,
just going to adjourn
No,
this
we need-
meeting.
no.
Can't
we
adjourn the
need to
meeting.
Get this
meeting is
done.
Nothing but a political bullshit.
Oh my
And you need to stop.
This
I
is
just-
about
That's all up
residents.
here.
No,
know who
this-
you
this
sound
this
like.
is totally not right, Ken. This is
No,
about
you don't
residents
really-
having issues with their sidewalks and we're trying to help them.
So the
That's what
question-
this is about.
Then we have a poverty
Question I
exemption
have is-
program that starts.
Based upon what's said, the question for the board is, does it wish to allocate funds for the appointment of a director?
Ye-
And then Ken would have the authority under the ordinance.
It's not
to
on the
appoint
agenda.
director.
So
Well, I understand that, but that's,
it's not on the
I
agenda.
understand that's
But
not on
there's
the
got to
agenda.
be a point.
And it can't be done at this time.
Right.
I agree.
Say that.
Right.
I agree.
I'm just saying that in
Okay.
terms of the process,
Right.
the process would be for the board to allocate funds
Yeah.
for retaining a director for that purpose. And then Ken would then have the authority under the ordinance to do to hire a director. And I will tell you, as I've talked to you, Bernice, and I think I've said this to other people too, the ordinances all need to be
They
overhauled.
do.
Well, they are.
Absolutely.
Carlisle Wortman has been retained to look at all our ordinances.
Well, they really are only going to be
Zoning.
retained to look at
Laughing.
it because,
Because we have 60 ordinances and they're not qualified to do anything other.
They're
than
doing zoning.
yeah, they're.
Yeah, the zoning, I'm sorry.
They're involved in zoning.
Yeah, you're right.
You have ordinances and I've seen, I've got a copy of all of them in my office.
Mhm.
And honestly, I wouldn't say 9/10, but I would imagine probably 50% of them are useless
Right.
because they're not being enforced or followed anyways.
Right.
So I think what needs to be done going forward is on an ordinance by ordinance basis, this board or whatever board, because it's not going to be this board by the time we get through this thing, it's going to be the next board,
Absolutely.
is going to have to go through those ordinances
One
and
by
say,
one by
this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, and we need to go forward.
We
But
have-
I
we have
would,
Ordinance on dancing halls, bowling alleys. things
But
like
we're
that.
talking about sidewalks right now.
I understand it, and the sidewalk
Okay,
ordinance
we
is
probably
also
need to
one that
get
needs
to what's on the
be reviewed.
agenda. If I can just say one
The
thing.
agenda.
So specific to to Morris Concrete, I feel like this situation didn't set him up for success either as a business, because he's had to go out and do a whole lot of stuff versus just pouring concrete. So, and I think that he would probably prefer to just be pouring concrete and not having to be put in a position of having to spray paint flags and do all of the technically
He wasn't supposed
the
to do
back
that.
work that he wasn't supposed to be doing anywho. And I think it's just kind of it's put him and his company into an awkward situation. It's put the township in an awkward situation because we haven't had somebody appointed to do this. So I know that we can't talk about this tonight, but with the other concern.
But I have to
Yes.
interject, Ken had him do things that he should not have been doing.
Well, and that's a neither here nor there because we've had
me an
that
example of
discussion.
that, Linda.
Flag
We've
the
had the
sidewalk.
discussion.
Oh, he flagged a couple. He didn't
And
stop it.
so we've had that discussion. I'm getting old, so please don't interrupt me.
know-
But hold on, please. So for me, the larger concern is the number of complaints that we are getting from residents that has to be addressed.
Let's quantify a few things, please.
Can I finish?
Yeah,
I think it's just, I mean, I hear what you're saying.
I haven't said it yet.
I mean, you did say, you said a few things, but my point is we need to better structure this program, whatever it takes. If that means getting you the money to be able to hire somebody to do the work, let's do that. Let's get Morris Concrete out of the position of having to go out here and spray flags and all of the other stuff. With the complaints, we need to make a decision. Is this contractor going to be able to move forward within the township? What do we need to do to restructure if that's the case? Do we, as a board, want to continue to be in the position of even making the recommendations? Do we have to make recommendations to residents for which contractors to use when anybody can get on the phone and call a concrete company to come out and pour cement? So we have to make grown-up decisions about how we move this thing forward. And when the day is all said and done, whatever work, whatever repairs, fixes, or whatever, Morris is going to have to deal with those himself with the residents. But we owe our residents a solution or some type of a resolution tonight as to how we are moving forward, because I don't want to hear again from a resident that they were told they had to get something done or they had to, to go through a process. And then we don't have anybody who can even go out there and have a conversation with Mr. Morris or his workers.
Right. But Rhonda, there really,
Wait a minute, Bernie, you're not in order here. I was going to respond to that.
okay.
How many complaints have we actually had of valid complaints? I think we've only had a few. We've had maybe
Yeah,
3 or
yo,
4.
If you go on next door, it is blowing
Oh, yeah,
up.
next door is
and
about
you-
as credible as it's.
These are our residents.
Yeah, but you know what? They
So
complain
you're
about
telling me that
contract-
people who have sidewalks in this township are not credible
I'm
for
saying.
speaking up and showing pictures? Have you
Rhonda.
seen the
Rhonda.
emails?
You're out of order now.
No, she's
No,
not.
I'm not
You
out of
cannot-
order.
You cannot take next door as your Bible for what's a good sidewalk or not. I have gone out and inspected a lot of sidewalks. I went out to Steph's house today. I took pictures for people if they want. I think that people are sometimes just have buyer's remorse. The work that I have seen Mr. Morris do by and large has been good, solid work. Solid work.
I don't know. I can't say that it has or hasn't. I'm saying that there are residents that are complaining. We have emails from people that are complaining. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4,
There are many.
5. There's about 10 emails from residents that have sent complaints to us.
And that's just recent.
I have to put this on the record. I was attending a retirement, I think it was last year, for a president in Minnesota. And I get text messages and I can share those. I have no problems with the overbilling that was completed, where it put Irma in a position to go back and look at every single bill. Every single bill. I have all that in email, and I have other things that I'm not just going to share here today, and where it's just unethical on many parts.
I just, you throw
No
that
one's,
out. It's
you just trust
backed
me.
it up with really
I can, where you have even wanted work done somewhere else. So I'm gonna stop there.
May I wade into this?
Mm-hmm.
it seems to me that whenever we have a project of this nature and you have a contractor, what should be occurring is that there should be a third party who is unassociated with either the contractor or the homeowner
Yep.
to look at the quality of the work and to let us know whether the quality of the work is adequate. Look, in my business and I'm sure in a lot of people's businesses, I'm not saying all the complaints are valid. I'm not saying all the complaints are not valid. I'm just saying that the best thing to do is to have an independent third party reviewing these complaints to determine whether the validity of the complaints. And if they are valid, those should be taken back to the contractor and dealt with in that fashion. There is a way to do this that doesn't involve us.
So Fred, there is an inspection policy that addresses all of that.
I
It
understand, but
does.
that hasn't been done. And
Right.
I'm suggesting to
It
you.
hasn't been done, Fred, because we don't really have any qualified to do it. You need to be an engineer or a DPW worker to
Yes,
be
we
able to
have-
go and do that inspection.
Well, actually, it says who can do it, and it's the director. And I think that if you could hire,
Director would be assumed to have somebody with the knowledge and the skill to be able.
Ken Irma
perform
went
those.
and corrected
not-
things with, excuse me, she corrected things with OHM. She went out and re-flagged. Yes, she did. This is,
bogged
it's
down.
true.
I understand
identify
that,
it.
but
It
but
does.
it hasn't been done.
I know, Fred, but that's why we're talking about giving
Giving
money,
him-
doing a budget and putting it in
That's the way
place.
to do it.
That's
is
exactly the way. to
Rather
do it.
than, I'm just indicating, rather than a discussion about where the blame should lie, the answer is we should be looking at, as you pointed out, if the ordinance has a process for
Yes.
that, we should be following the process in the
Mhm.
ordinance and going forward in that fashion.
Right.
And getting this resolved for the benefit of the residents and also in fairness to Mr. Morris and the
Exactly.
job and in his work. So I think it's for both, it benefits both sides.
That's my only point.
And I think that's absolutely correct.
So why don't we just
So-
put a pause on the sidewalk program for now
That's
and
what
come
I-
back?
kind of done here.
Totally. And I do, Mr. Morris, you stood here and said you'll pay your bill. I couldn't get through on your email address. Here's your bill, so I'll give
Hey,
it.
hang on, we're not done. Mr. Morris, you have an opportunity now to
Sure.
respond to anything that you've heard tonight. But if you do, please speak into the microphone so that your words are captured.
Hello, everybody.
Speaking to the mic, Mr. Morris, please.
As I was just listening to all of the complaints, which is mostly things that I haven't heard before. Fred has a very good point, and Rhonda also has a point. If our company if we get a notice saying, from one of you guys saying, hey, Mr. Morris, come out and take a look at this, I'd be glad to do that. But if there's somewhere that we have work that's not up to standard, or someone says our work is not up to standard, show it to me. Show it to me. We are in business. We've been in business since 1995. My daughter, who's also part of the company, was born that same year. We are here to take care of our business and do what we're supposed to do. We're not out here to just pretend like we're doing concrete. This is what we do. And no matter what, we'll continue to do that if we're given the opportunity. If you take a look at all the work that we've done, most of you guys will be like, excuse me, who are you talking about? I guarantee you, because we don't play, we're for real.
I'll back that up to the point that I have gone out and I have viewed several of the complaints. I could not find what the problems were. They said they're out of plane and they weren't. And that some of the complaints were that the roots weren't cleaned up and, you went back and cleaned up roots. But, Mr. Morris, I just think you're being dragged into a bunch of political mess.
Very careful.
I'm-
saying stuff like
And I think
that.
that's what it is.
Very, very careful saying, because you made a comment that if you do great work, Mr. Morris, I'll have you do something at my house.
Actually,
Yes, you did. Be careful.
Speaking of, we did a shed pad for,
Let's stop. Let's stop it now.
we did Irma's shed pad. It's like, what's wrong with that?
Ooh, he admits something. He admitted it.
The most disrespectful man.
You got us talking to the mic.
Dolores,
Dolores.
this isn't the time.
I
for
don't,
that.
I don't want to debate it.
No.
And- excuse me, ma'am.
You got us. You can't talk if you do not allowed to talk into the mic, and we're not allowing you. Mr.
Mr. Morris, if you want to just.
This is
conclude-
not political, and you should be ashamed of saying
No,
that
this is very political.
on your behalf.
These are residents that have been sending
Wow.
messages in, and I don't think residents give a
I
damn
went to
about
several that They
politics.
have Irma Golden signs in their front yard, so.
And you know what?
Problem.
And
Not our-
I walked Bromley, and, there are other people's signs in sidewalks where he's done. So be careful, Ken. It goes both ways.
All right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Morris don't care about all
No.
of that. He cares
Morris,
about
if you
his
could-
business, and I think
Yes,
that's why
no.
he's
Because
here.
what has happened in the situation here, when you come off of a hard winter, when you're in construction, we came off of a very, very hard winter. That winter, we're almost broke. Now, then we get out here and find out that you're not really going to get to do any work that you've actually planned for, hired people for, and everything that we're doing to basically have our brakes pumped. Now, it's unfortunate, whatever's going on, we are not trying to be a part of it. All we want to do is make a living and keep on doing concrete. That's it.
And I agree with you. And I have complaints on my phone before any politics occurred. Simple as that. I'm done.
But people, and that's the other thing. They're
It's not
complaining-
about politics.
Okay, these people that are complaining, this is 2024. You are not going to get exposed aggregate in your concrete. It's going to be nice and bright and white and normal. This is something that I can't change. I don't mix the
Okay.
concrete.
You're right. I agree with that.
This lady got mad because she didn't like the way the concrete looked after we sprayed curing compound on it. It's in our contract to spray curing compound on it. We can't change that. She's talking to the wrong person, and she need to, if she want it done, she can contact you guys. It's in our paperwork to put curing compound on it. We can't change that. She said I was being disrespectful because I was not bowing down. I'm not paying for that. I'm not going to do that. Oh, actually, that's been fixed. Have you checked that out?
All right.
Okay, but did you?
Okay, we got another meeting.
Did you come to me? Did you come to me?
Lynette,
So,
I'm going not to do that.
ma'am, again, you're out of order at this particular point, so I want to move on. I just feel like we need to, either we need to expand the number of contractors that are going to be
There
available
were.
to do,
You guys don't
to
want
do the work and give the folks the more choices.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Morris is, somehow, some way, we need to be able to provide you with a list of the addresses that have submitted their complaints to give you an opportunity to make it right.
Could you do that for the ones that you have? Rhonda?
I would absolutely do that. I'm happy to do
Right.
whatever I can.
But one thing I'd like to say, excuse me, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
No, I was just saying, I would love to be able to have you commit to being able to make it right if there are issues that are material that need to be fixed. And that to me is important.
Yep. And I have a repair guy that works with me doing all of our water hoses or whatever happened, anything that breaks as far as sprinklers, which happens on a regular basis
Mhm.
in concrete. Because
Absolutely.
we have to dig the edges up to put the forms in to do the concrete. That happens. Now, but the key thing is that if, like, we have one that was actually repaired on Sheffield. It just got repaired because when the season starts, these guys are going bananas. They're everywhere. And so if we don't get to it right away, it's not because we're not trying to do it. It's on the agenda to be done, but we are doing a lot of sidewalks. We are the only contractor that, from what I understand, there's at least, it's supposed to be 2 or 3 more guys out here doing it.
No.
I haven't seen nobody but Morris out here.
Yeah, where's the profession, I don't know, precision or something?
Mr. Morris, if we could wrap up, we got another meeting. We have to adjourn.
I have to say one thing. I did give you your bill that you said you would pay when you were at that podium last time. It's right there. I didn't have an address. I even sent it to your daughter.
Thank you. I
That's
have.
it.
All right.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
We're
Mr.
not gonna
Morris,
have
for
police
coming this
petitions
evening.
tonight. We have fulfilled the statutory obligation of having one public comment time. We already did that, but we have a drain meeting that was scheduled before this meeting that's going to use this building for their board of determination. So if I can get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Let the drain commission. All right.